That's just a warning bell to let you know that Sherman's part of the tape is over, so I can add a little PS to you, Jay. And I didn't want you to, I wanted you to have plenty of warning so you wouldn't have to redo the tape after you taped me onto it by accident or something. I don't know if your mind ran the same as mine did in listening through this again, but I imagine it did, even the first time I heard it, when he was singing my mother's picture on the wall. I couldn't help but think that it wouldn't be too long until he would be seeing her. Just like it said in the song, it was almost prophetic, and I would have bet that he thought the same thing when he was thinking of it. It's wonderful to be able to have his voice back, and yet it has mixed feelings for me, as I'm sure it does for you. You have the feeling of enjoying hearing the voice you've loved, and yet knowing that it's on tape and that there's going to be a while before we can join him. But I do pray very sincerely that all of us that loved him will live our lives in such a way that we will be able to join him when the end of our life comes, that we will live up to our agreements and our vows that we've taken, that we won't let the troubles of this world and the workings of Satan distract us to the point that we will find ourselves not worthy when that day comes to face us. There's no need in saying what a great guy Sherm was, and a lot of the things that we remember about him. Sometime I'll put some of the things I remember, although I'm sure your memories are a lot stronger, and a lot different than mine are. I didn't see too much of Sherman because our mother died when I was born. I have sometimes, fleetingly, but sometimes thought it was too bad that she gave her life for mine. I'm sure that hers would have meant a lot to a lot of people, but I hope I can make up for the life she gave me and justify it by living in such a way that I can help people, and that I hope I will never set an example that will make people feel that my living here wasn't justified. I'm really looking forward to the tape you're going to send me, Jay. Any kinds of songs you've got. I especially like the ones like the one you did on your tape here. And would like to have that included when you put it in. I don't care much for the crying in the beer type, you know, the kind about she wasn't good to me, so I'll drink my beer while you are, or something to that effect. You know the kind I mean. Also, Jay, I heard that you had written some beautiful songs, and I'm sure they're very near and dear to you and touch a very tender spot in your life. But I would love to have you share them with me, or share one at least with me. One that you've written since your divorce and your problems. I'm sure you can understand that I can associate with what you've been through, because while I'm sure circumstances were different, we both lost people that we loved in a way that we'd much love. Well, sometimes it's harder than death. Some of my poems I've heard have been written, and I didn't put most of them in my book because, well, some of them were a little too bitter. I didn't want to be remembered for my bitter part. And then some were just too tender and hit a tender spot, and they weren't really for public consumption. But if you do feel you can share one of your personal songs with me when you send the tape to me, I'll certainly appreciate it very much and consider it a very nice gift. There's not very much left on this tape, so I'll just finish it out with a little bit of chit-chat. For one thing, I did cut Sherm's tape a little bit short, but the rest of it was so broken and fragmented it sounded as if perhaps a short in the, connection that was periodically breaking off and coming back again, and there were only just little bits here and there. And if you do want those pieces, I can send them to you, but they really didn't amount to that much, except the bits of voice that were on it. I will finish this tape and send it with a Christmas card that I sort of imagined up for Christmas correspondence this year. I've got this silly habit of getting Christmas cards, addressing a whole bunch of them. Then the next year around Christmas time, I get them out again and decide the little personal notes I'd put on them were no longer appropriate and throw them out. So this year, one at a time, I'm going to do them and send them out. And I hope I'm not making a fibber out of myself by saying that I'm going to get the mail. But I will give you another tape. There's bits on them where Mother and I have sung in harmony, just to have a memory of her beautiful alto that Mother sings. I would like to give you the words to the song that I wrote to my family, encouraging them to get back to their church work. Unfortunately, I only have one that's really busy and active in the church, and this has been a heartache to me, because I'm hoping that the future will bring us all together again, and at this point I don't see the possibility of it, but I'll never give up. Mothers never do. And so I'll send the words along with it in case you can't understand them. I'll probably take the tape that the trio from the ward, the ladies trio, did in the practice section, which isn't too good, except that the tune is there, and maybe try to sing the words against that background a little bit so the words are a little more plain. They did beautiful harmony on it. They presented it incidentally at the State Music Festival, and it was really well received, and they had invitations to sing it to a church over not far from our place in a sacrament meeting and sing the same song. So I felt real good about this. I've been advised to get it copyrighted, but procrastination is my middle name, and I probably will never get it done, although I really intend to. I felt good about one thing in going to the funeral. I did get to meet you boys and get reacquainted, and I hate to say so, but there's most of you I wouldn't have known had I met you under other circumstances. I just wouldn't have really recognized you. And I did get a lovely letter from your mother, just a note, but Grandma got my mother got a beautiful letter from her, and knowing how she felt and how much she misses your father. And I've got to write to her. I'm going to send her a Christmas note and tell her I'm sending this tape for you, that she can get a copy of it from you. And I hope everything's going well with you. If you don't get the tape clear full, or both sides clear full of songs, give me a little talking and let me know what you're doing and what type of work you're in, and some of your feelings and the things you're doing, and this sort of thing. Sort of an interesting type thing. I'll make the other tape up and get it to you after Christmas, probably. This one I do want to get in the mail by Christmas time, kind of an extra little punch to the Christmas card that I'm planning on sending. I can't tell too well for sure how this tape's going to, how much longer I've got to run, so maybe I better wind it up a little bit here just in case. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Incidentally, I wrote another chorus to one of our church songs. That is, I wrote my words to it. I have this little habit when I'm going to work, riding in my car, if I happen to be a little blue or depressed or real serious about some particular subject, I'll sing sort of a prayer as I go along. And I wrote a chorus to one of the church songs that I make as sort of an ending to some of my song prayers that I sung. And if I can remember it now that I've led into it, I'll sing just that chorus the way I've made the words to it. Take thou my hand, O Lord, I pray. Lead thou my footsteps day by day, that when from lost trials of life I'm free, I may return to live with thee. I'm always pitching myself too low. Well, this is the first tape, and I hope I get the other one done before next year's over with. As I said, I have that bad habit. But we wish you and all of your loved ones a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and everything that goes with it. Ask you to hang in there, hang on to the gospel and iron rod. That's the main strength, the main source of strength when it comes right down to the wire. It's temptation sometimes, I know, to let other things, worldly things, get in the road and make you forget temporarily at times what the real important things in life are. And believe me, I know where a lot of these things come in. But I'll sign off now. Merry Christmas to everybody and a Happy New Year, and answer back.